In this exercise, I'm going to introduce you to what has to be the most flexible of the pixel-based web image file formats, and that's PNG, or PNG. It completely replaces GIF, although everything you learned about GIF carries over. You'll still need to create JPEG graphics because it doesn't have the same variety of compression. But it's also a great file format for exchanging graphics with Photoshop and other applications, including such Microsoft Office applications as PowerPoint. So I'm still working inside Asterman.ai, found inside the 12 exporting folder. I'm just going to press the keyboard shortcut this time around, Control-Shift-Alt-S or Command-Shift-Option-S on the Mac. I'm looking at the 2-up display, although Save for Web has seen fit to go ahead and reset the left-hand preview to that uncompressed original, which is fine. Over here on the right-hand side, I still have all my GIF settings intact. So Perceptual was used to generate the color table. I've got 13 colors, no dither, and so on. What I want you to notice is that the graphic is going to be 10.63K. Now, I should say that's just an estimate, albeit a highly specific estimate, but your file size may vary a little bit, so just be prepared for that. However, the relative information that you learn about the various file formats is accurate. So if I go ahead and switch from GIF to PNG 8, for example, and notice that there's two flavors of PNG. We've got PNG with no more than 8 bits of data assigned to each and every pixel. That gives us 256 or fewer colors, making it analogous to GIF. In fact, the whole idea behind PNG 8 is to replace GIF. And then we also have a 24-bit per pixel version of PNG, which means that we have as many as 16.8 million color variations, just like JPEG, but we don't have the lossy compression, so PNG 24 delivers larger graphics. Anyway, I'm going to switch to PNG 8. And notice, none of my options change here. Interlace moved. It used to be down here in the lower left corner of this area. Now it's up here in the upper right-hand corner. We still don't want to select it. The lossy option is gone, which is great because it's of no use to us. Otherwise, we have the same settings. Perceptual, which is used to generate the color table. Those are exactly the same colors we had before. We've got 13 colors, no dither, and so on. And in fact, pixel for pixel, the optimized version of the graphic is exactly the same. So in other words, Save for Web is the program that's determining the composition of the graphic. All that GIF or PNG 8 are bringing to bear is the compression. And PNG delivers better compression, as we can see here, because we've got a graphic that is now 10.16K. Now, that's not dramatically different. However, we did shave off 500 bytes, which definitely helps things out. And PNG always generates smaller files. So here's the deal. You might say, well, then why would we ever use GIF? And the answer is why indeed. GIF is supported by more browsers, but that's just because it was around during the very old days. So in other words, if you're working with somebody who's using a browser from the 20th century, then you'll need to give them GIF graphics. But otherwise, if it's a fairly modern browser, they all support PNG. The only exception I've run into lately was I create this newsletter through Constant Contact, and they don't support PNG graphics. You have to use GIF instead. So you may run into weird support issues like that. But if you're just creating images for the web in general, PNG is just fine. And it's an open source file format instead of being owned by CompuServe, and you don't have to worry about how to pronounce it, whether it's, GIF versus GIF, it's always PNG. And one of the jokes is that the PNG actually stands for PNG, not GIF. That's not really what it stands for, but it is pretty funny. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and click on Cancel because I want to show you a more dramatic difference between GIF and PNG 8. And I'm going to do that by switching over to BetterType.ai, that other graphic we've been working on inside the 12 exporting folder. And I've gone ahead and selected the fourth artboard, Skate and Surf here. I'll press Control-Shift-Alt-S or Command-Shift-Option-S again. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the graphic like so. And by the way, if you get those red horizontal lines, switch over here to image size, switch this setting to Type Optimize and click Apply. However, I'm okay here. Right now, I'm looking at a JPEG version of the graphic. Let's go ahead and switch over to GIF. That's far too few colors, so I'm going to raise the number of colors to 128, which would be a 7-bit per pixel image. And then I'll switch the dither setting from no dither, which isn't going to suit this image at all, to diffusion. Now, notice diffusion creates a kind of random pattern. If that's not random enough for you, Then you can switch up to noise, which really gets jittery. And I don't really care for noise all that much, but I'll tell you, it's way better than pattern, which is completely locked down, if you check that out. And it looks like a really old operating system graphic or something. Anyway, I'm going to select diffusion. And then I've got the dither value maxed out to 100%. I'm going to turn on transparency so that we can see the area behind the surfboard. And I really want you to notice how we have a sharp edge next to the drop shadow. And then finally, I don't care for these sort of burgundy pixels right next to the robot's neck. So I'll switch from perceptual to adaptive, like so, and that gets rid of them. So far, so good. Got this guy done. That's the GIF version of the graphic. Let's apply those same settings on the left-hand side using Ping 8. So I'll click on the left-hand preview, go to preset, switch it to Ping 8 128 dithered, like so. And let's go ahead and replicate those same settings. I've got diffusion. That's great. 128 colors. The dither value, of course, should be maxed to 100%. Transparency is turned on, but we've got those burgundy pixels next to the neck. So let's switch from selective, in this case, to adaptive. And otherwise, everything's the same. I think I'll go ahead and click on the right-hand preview and see if I see any changes, and I don't. So otherwise, the only difference is we're switching from GIF to Ping 8. Notice the GIF image is 65.39K, and the Ping 8 graphic is 50.79K. It's 15K smaller, which is a fairly significant drop in file size. I mean, we just lost a quarter of the file size there, and all we did was switch from one format to the other. Otherwise, every single pixel in these two side-by-side graphics is the same. So that's Ping 8 for you. In the next exercise, I'm going to demonstrate how to use Ping 24.